Sometimes I speak about fear management for college students. Sometimes I speak about fear management for the faculty members. And of course, sometimes speaking about fear, even to the corporate professionals. On February 17th, I was training some of the faculty members of, you know, the staff members of a company. And I spoke about fear there as well. So I have a kind of an interface as to be used for handling the fear. Now I'm going to show you some 4 or 5 slides now, which are practical and immediate approach for handling your fear and controlling your fear. You see, this takes only a little bit of a self-analysis, no matter whatever your age is. When you do the self-analysis and immediate asking of a couple of questions will put you into proper control. I'd like to invite you to the slides, then you will understand. Speak about fear management, and I want you to have a good look at these boxes. You know, this entire fear management process, and I would be happy if you're noting things down, Aditya, Tarvi, Angelin, and Danny, if you're noting things down, because nothing beats the physical noting down of things. So phase 1 is define, phase 2 is imagine, phase 3 is eliminate, phase 4 is transform, and phase 5 is execute. So this fear management that we are speaking about today in this class has got 5 steps: define, imagine, eliminate, transform, and execute. Okay, what are we going to define? What are we going to imagine? What are we going to eliminate? What are we going to transform? And what are we going to execute? Well, let's see that in detail. First, let's see the phase 1, the first box, that is define. Define the consequences. When you're having the fear, look at the question. What is it that I fear? What is really that I'm actually fearing here? Why at all should I fear? What is it that I fear? And there are 4 questions that you need to ask. The first 3 questions are very, very crucial. Why must I overcome the fear? What is the fear preventing me from doing and becoming? What is the fear preventing? Okay, fear of darkness, fear of examinations, fear of going to a place, or fear of a particular person, fear of a particular activity. Why should I overcome this? What's the benefit do I have in overcoming this fear? And what is the fear preventing me from doing and becoming? Where is it stopping me? And look at the third question. That's even more crucial. What will happen if I do nothing about it? If I'm not taking any action, what's the worst case that will happen? Well, this is very, very important. And the fourth question, what is the fear costing me spiritually, emotionally, and in other ways? So these 4 questions, when you're asking, let's say, for example, if say Aditya has got fear of interacting with people, and if Tanvi has got fear of going into the darkness, it doesn't mean that these people are having this fear. I'm just saying it, for example. And if Danny is having the fear of heights, and Evangeline is having a fear of tiny little insects, all of you should ask this question. Why must I overcome the fear of darkness? Why should I overcome the fear of this insects? Why should I overcome the fear of meeting new people? What is the fear preventing me? Well, this fear is preventing me from having my growth. I'm not growing up. I'm always feeling like a kid because of this fear. What will happen if I do nothing about it? If I do nothing about my fear, I will never get into darkness. I will never speak to people. I will never, I will always scream by looking at the insects. So these answers will come when you're defining when you're doing the first box. And what's the fear costing? Well, it is costing my peace of mind. It is costing my happiness. It is costing my, everything. So I have to do something about it. Which brings us to the next step, and that is you saw a couple of boxes, and the first box is define, and now the next box is imagine. What am I trying to accomplish? How will things be different once the fear is gone? What will I be able to do better? Or what will I be able to do, be, have, and achieve? Without this fear, you are just imagining your life without this fear. That's the second step. Okay, right? So, in order to validate things further, I'm just trying to explain this one now. The first one we saw, the first one we actually saw here, that is phase one we have seen, and that is defined. The phase two is imagine. And we are just into that particular slide. What am I trying to accomplish? Without that fear, what am I trying to accomplish? Well, without the fear of darkness, I would like to accomplish bravery. Without the fear of meeting new people, I would like to interact with more people. How will things be different once the fear is gone? If the fear is not there with me anymore, I will feel so happy. I will feel so satisfied. I'll feel like a soldier. I'll feel like a warrior. And I will feel like a king. Okay, good. What will I be able to do? Well, I will be able to do everything. What will I be able to be? Who will I be able to be? I mean, I'll be becoming a leader without that fear. So this is the second thing in this fear management. You are imagining your life without the fear. Now, what was the third phase that we saw in the introduction slide? Eliminate. Now let's get right into it. Eliminate into your past. This is the key. Yes, you have a fear. And now you imagined your life without the fear. Let's get back to the past. Have I experienced this fear before? And in the past, whenever I have experienced this fear, how did I overcome it? And what were my lessons? And what were my lessons? My lessons from my successes, my lessons from my failures, my lessons from my mistakes. What are the lessons that I have learned? Likewise, from this fear, what have I learned in the past? Eliminate. What do you mean by eliminate? Eliminates means it simply means put some light on something. Illumination, the lighting effects. So here, what you're doing is going back to the past and putting some light in. You see, boys and girls, when you're doing all this, the fear gets far, 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 far away from you, and your fear gets distanced. Why? Because you're analyzing. When you're analyzing your worry, when you're analyzing your fear, worry and fear always get distanced. But human beings don't analyze. That's where the problem is. So go back to the past, eliminate. First, what did you do? What did you do? You defined the fear. Second, you imagined your life without fear. Third, you got back to your past and see whether you have accomplished something. So let's get right into the fourth one. The fourth phase is, yeah, it is not over. Eliminate is not over. We have got so many questions to be asked. Yeah, okay. So let us run through. I was choosing some questions. Yeah. Very quickly. How did this fear originate? When was the last time this fear originated? When did this fear begin? How long this fear persisted? Instead of concentrating on the second and third question, you more focus towards the first question here in this slide. How did this fear originate? Who ignited it? Who lit that up? And who was the reason? And when you are thinking about the reasons for the fear, and when you are thinking about the origination of the fear, then you will come to an understanding that sometimes you have made the mistake for the fear. So you must be getting some answers on this. Now let's move on to the next phase. Going back to the boxes, the next phase is transform. Transform the perspective of fear by questioning. Does this fear make any sense? Now you are facing the fear. Okay. Does this fear make any sense? How is this fear absolutely crazy and funny? What is funny about this fear? How would I approach this fear from the perspective of politician, scientist, entrepreneur, and artist? You see, here you are putting yourself into the shoes of your ambition. Like if Danny says that I would like to become an astronaut, he has to see the fear as an astronaut. If Aditya says I would like to become an IAS officer in the future, he has to see that as an IAS officer. If Tanvi says I would like to become a computer engineer or a teacher, she has to see the fear as a teacher. That's why I given the example as politician, scientist, entrepreneur, and artist. And the fifth one is my personal favorite. You have to take your hero, you have to take your idol, or you have to take your inspiration. Let's say, for example, for me, my inspiration is Swami Vivekananda. So look at the question. How would I approach this fear if I were Swami Vivekananda? If I were Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam? If I were Subhash Chandra Bose? And if I were Mahatma Gandhi? Likewise, you have got a couple of people in your mind. Put yourselves into those shoes of those people and see the fear. Your wonderful mind will give some answers and implement those answers. It's very simple. This is called as the transforming section of fear management. And then the final one, execute, take action. After you made all these analysis, take action. What's the first question? What is the first step I would like to take to overcome this fear? Now that I have analyzed, I have defined my fear, I have imagined my life without fear, I have eliminated into the past, and also I have tried to ask some questions to transform. Now I have got those answers. I'm going to put those answers into action. What is the first step I'm going to take? And what is the next step? Take action using small steps. So you have to implement all those actions. Some form of actions, some form of answers would have come to you, and you should be executing that immediately. So this is the fear management psychology. And please understand, what you can do is actually amazing, but what you are actually doing is very, very disappointing. Why? Why is it disappointing? Because you are stumbled with fear. But if you break the fear using this particular technique, what you will do will be amazing. So once again, to make the long story short, fear management aspect has got 5 important chronicles, 5 phases, I should say. Define. The fear is the first phase. Imagine your life without the fear. It's the second phase. Eliminate to the past and see where the fear got originated is the third phase. Ask a lot of more questions. How this fear was born in me, and what is the reason behind it? That's a transform phase. And execute. Take action to kill the fear is the 5th phase. So I want you to go through your life, and every single time when you are experiencing some sort of fear, I want you to ask these questions. If you feel or if you think that this process is a very lengthy and long process, at least ask 3 shortcut based questions. Question number 1, when did I get this fear from? If you're looking at an animal and if that animal scares you, even if it is a domestic animal, sometimes we get scared like that. We still have people who are terrified and horrified by looking at dogs, cats, and even birds. Even if a crow comes and stands into the strand of your sit out, and if it looks at you, you get scared. So you need to ask some question, like when did this fear originate, and what is it stopping me from, and what action can I take? For these 3 questions, your mind will definitely get some answers, and those answers have to be put into action. So that's a fear management thing I wanted to explain to you in this class. You have any questions, boys? Any doubts or something?
No, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So then, all right. So then
No,
implement
sir.
this. Good job. So implement this and try to get the benefit out of it. So Daniel, Angeline, meet you after your exams. Talk to Kingsley Kumar and let me know when is your resuming class. Uh, Aditya and Thanvi. Achyut has got a different timeline, I believe. He hasn't informed anything to me, and 2 classes he has skipped. Uh, I will have to talk to his dad about it. So let us not waste time. Let us not wait till 6:45. Last week we waited for him, but he didn't turn up, and we ended up class with B3 of us speak. Tomorrow we will have the class at the same time, 4 o'clock itself, and we will finish it. You need not wait till 6:45, keeping all your work pending. So finish our class, and you can go back to work. And next week we will have class only on Saturday. Tanvi and Aditya, you alone will attend, and then you both will go for the break, just like Daniel and Elijah. Okay, so we'll meet for our class tomorrow exactly at 4 p.m. Tanvi and Aditya.
Okay, sir.
All right.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so we will look forward to a new presentation from Tanvi tomorrow and Aditya tomorrow, and we will meet Evangeline and Daniel after their exams. So thank you so much. Your CRS is really glowing. I'm so happy by seeing that, and use everything. The knowledge meter in CRS column will get updated only if I realize and if I feel that you people are using whatever you have learned in MS evening sessions. You have learned cosmic energy. You have learned how tiny things should not be bothering us. You have learned fear management today. You have learned auto suggestion. All those things have to be applied. And I hope in the forthcoming week, you will apply the fear management and teach your friends as well. The best way to get thorough on it is teach your friends. I'll be meeting you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Thank you,
Bye,
sir.
Aditya.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Tanya.
Thank you,
Bye.
sir. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Bye, sir.
Bye. 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 Tanya. Bye. See you.